AAU Committee's karate tournament. This is to determine places on the U.S. karate team. And my name is Mike Herman, and my partner for today will be George Anderson. George is a 7th degree black belt master. He's also an instructor in karate from the University of Akron, and he's one of the top officials in AAU karate in the country. George, today's tournament we're going to see a lot of top-notch competition, people that are going to try to qualify for the U.S. team.
Yes, you'll see the winners from the Nationals. You'll see the winners from the zonal team trials. And, of course, not anybody can get into this tournament. They have to be champions through those two events, and then they're permitted to come here and compete for the spot on the United States team, which represents the United States under the flag.
Okay, and it's divided, of course, into two divisions of kata and in the fighting form. Third round competition of the U.S. standing team trial sponsored by the National AAU Karate Committees here in the Marriott, and we are now in the final round. There are 6 competitors in this round, and they'll be competing in 6th place to 1st, right?
Now, Lori Clapper has competed more in the open tournament, and so she's used to very flamboyant things, and now they've had to take some of her more startling techniques out because this is internationally judged competition. And so it's put her at a little disadvantage. And under these rules, if she's used to them, then she'll perform better next year, I think.
What about competitors as compared to age? Where do they reach their optimum level of performance?
Well, the really masters, of course, are 65 and 70 years old. But the startlingly clean, perfect physical action is probably somewhere between 25 and 30. Now look at that stance. That's really flat and beautiful. See how deep that is?
Of course, at this point, she has her back to the judges. How does that affect their evaluation?
It really doesn't make too much difference because they're judging the flatness of her stance and the strength of her back and her breathing. You can see clearly from the back. So there's some things you can see from the back that you can't see from the front. And sometimes that you're overcome with facial expressions and where you really should be seeing the position of the buttocks and the position of the hips and of the lower back.
We're obviously seeing a lot more kicking and movement and jumping in this freeform round. Has the other 2 rounds prepare them for this, or how does this compare to the other 2 rounds?
Well, once again, since you're starting with the high score, and for each time you make a mistake, they take off 1/10 of a point. The other 2 rounds, they try to avoid making error. These rounds, if they're in the top, they try to go for broke.
Okay, and that completes Lori Clapper's round. She, of course, had 44.9 coming into the final round, and we'll see the officials' tabulation here.
8.8.
Just 8.8, 8.5, 9.0, 8.4, 8.5, 9.0, 8.8, 8.7, and 9.6, 8.6. So we'll see where that ranks her with Joan.
I think she appears to me on the surface that she did better than.
Of course, the competitors have to wait here for their score. Is this final part here still evaluated as far as?
No, when they back up beyond the line, beyond the ring line there, then they're out of the form.
Okay, on
60.9.
So 60.9, she and Joan will now be tied. As Joan had 61 and she received a 60.9, they were only 1/10 of a point apart.
So now they're a tied score.
Now we have Pam Glazer, who was in 2nd place after the 1st round of competition, but then dropped to 4th with her performance during the 2nd round. So it'll be interesting to see what she does here.
I would expect her to come up. She's a very strong competitor and fierce concentration. She puts a very strong effort to it. And this is one of her strongest forms.
Again, the top two winners here will go on to the U.S. team.
Yes, they're in the U.S. team, and then the third and fourth place are the alternates. In case these people get sick and can't make the trip or something, then they will select the third and fourth to go in their place.
So a very important performance here by Pam Glazier, is presently in fourth place.
Oh yes, this is. If she drops any further, she's out.
What kind of a system is she using?
Well, this is traditionally a Goju form. Beautiful kick. It appeared to me that she lost her balance slightly on that one movement there, and that may have cost her some points.
Okay, and that concludes her round. We'll see how the judges evaluate her score. Again, she has 45.5 after the first two rounds of competition. Very close to Telly Garcia ahead of her, with has 45.6, 9.0, 9.0, 8.8, 8.5, 9.0, a 9.3, 9.0, a 9.0, and an 8.9. So a very fine performance.
Excellent. She came up.
You said you expected her to go all out. Is that the type of performance you expected to see from Pam?
Yes, it is. The kicks were clean, sharp, and hard, and if she hadn't slipped a little bit on the last, she'd probably scored higher yet. She was trying very, very hard to do her best.
Of course, on deck now is Telly Garcia, who has a 45.6. The competition really tight right in here for second place.
Well, Tilney is usually a very strong finisher. Her, she gets stronger and stronger as she warms up and she goes through the rounds.
Of course, the head table is compiling the scores here. We'll see what Pam Glazier came up with for the third round. Add that to her first two rounds and see how she'll finish up.
62.70.
62.70. And so that'll give Tilly Garcia something to shoot for there. She's going to have a strong performance to maintain her third place position.
Oh, she certainly will. I would expect one from her, though. And she's an experienced competitor. She has fierce determination. Look the way she's walking out there. And she's determined to do it. And she is really a positive thinker. Oh, and this is her best form. This is the same one that Lori Clapper did, and got a lot of movement.
As we have a few seconds here, let's talk a little bit about this as a preparation for the actual combat or actual fighting in karate. This type of exercise, and this is the overall preparation for the karate.
Yes, it is. This is the training for both the mind, body, and the breathing. And then when they're trained adequately, then they apply them through the free fighting to find out whether you can apply them under circumstances that aren't under your control. These are controlled circumstances, and these are lovely to do out in the backyard at night when the moon's up and the grass is green and soft and you're quiet, and this is like your Zen breathing and your deep concentration. And then when you're done with this and you develop a tremendous body and capacity, then you apply that in sparring.
She's completed performance. We did see almost a slip on the one,
Yes, you
one
did.
jump there.
Yeah, you certainly did.
So we'll see how that's reflected in the scores, and it is clearly reflected. She is 8.9, 8.8, 8.6, 8.9, 9.0, 9.2, 8.9, 8.8, and 8.9. So we'll see. I don't think she'll be able to maintain her third place, fall below Pam Glazier.
Yeah, she'll be in fourth place, I think.
Of course, now it's Leah Sukenik on deck, and she also is very close. She had a 45.7, and so the pressure's not off yet. Leah as well, who's in second place now, which would qualify her for the U.S. team, still has to have a good performance in order to finish ahead of Pam Glazier.
Yes, she could make a mistake very easily and lose. It's entirely possible to actually stumble and fall. I've seen that occur. And it happens in maybe like 1 out of 25, 1 out of 30 forms. One thing I might add here that these people are doing this on a carpet floor, and most of them train on wood. And so there's a little bit different grasp on a footing here than there would be on a hardwood floor. These forms are much liked by the masters, and they've practiced up to a very advanced stage.
62.2, so she did indeed drop below Pam Glazier. And now it's Leah Sekenik who needs a good performance here to maintain her second place position, and with a real strong performance could challenge Kathy Baxter for the top spot.
I would think so, yes. Empy is a flying swallow form. It's very quick as a Shotokan form. It has a beautiful jump in the end of this form.
Well, what is the background on Leah?
She's from New York. She's a Shotokan expert from New York, and she's won many championships. She's one of the finest of the women competitors. The last year or so, she hasn't been as active, perhaps, as the Baxter girl or the Miss Glazer. Now we're coming up on a strong jump here.
And that concludes her competition.
Yes, I thought she did very well, but I didn't think her jump was clean.
9.0,
9.0, 9.0, 9.0, 8.8, 8.8, 9.0, 8.8, 8.9, and 8.7. So we'll see if she can maintain her lead in second place. I think we should comment there on the judges' scores. It's very consistent.
Yes, they are. They have a common viewpoint. These are international referees and the best in the United States. And they're very experienced, and they know exactly what to look for. So obviously they all see the same things wrong.
Just as a reminder, Pam Glazier had a 62.7 on this third round, and to give her a total of 108.20. She's presently the leader. But of course, we have Kathy Baxter coming up, and we'll have to add in Leah Sekenik's score.
Here's how Kathy is preparing for her form. She's standing there quietly concentrating.
62.3.
So gives her 108.00, which drops her down below Pam Glazier, who now is in second place with a 108.20. And that is the person right now who's applying the pressure on Kathy Baxter.
Well, as I said, I would expect Glazer and Baxter to be the first and second. I said that earlier in the thing, and it's turned out to be that way.
What kind of a performance is she putting on here?
This is a Goju Shiho. It's a Shonro Kata, and it's a beautiful form, and it fits her body build and style quite well. She has very clean, strong technique, and this gives her that ability to demonstrate that. Kathy is a very strong fighter, and she's consistently a winner in a competition, sparring competition.
So can we expect to see her towards the finals of tomorrow's?
Oh, yes, I would expect her. As a matter of fact, I think she will place in either the first or second place. This is like the drunken sailor form. They pull up on one leg and they teeter and fall off into a hand technique.
Kathy Baxter has completed her performance, and now we'll see the official scores on that. She, as we said, is in first place, winning both the first and second rounds. 9.2, 8.8, 9.2, 8.8, 8.7, 9.2, 9.0, 9.0, and 8.9. Not as high as we've seen in some of the other scores.
No, her form was not an extremely exciting kata, and there was no way for her to demonstrate her capacity totally.
Should be good enough to keep her in first place on a qualifier for the U.S. team. We'll wait for the heads tables final computations. We'll remind her we'll be back with a look at the men's finals, the finals of the men's competition after this, but we'll wait here until we find out Kathy Baxter's final score. She remains at the center of the floor.
You notice that she's still at attention and breathing properly at this time.
62.9.
That does give her the championship with 109.00. Second place is Pam Glazier with 108.20. Both of those will now qualify for the U.S. team. Third place, Leah Sakenik with a 108 even, and followed by Tilly Garcia, 107.80. And so we'll pause here. We'll be back with a look at the men's competition, the finals of the men's kata, right after this timeout. Well, this is Mike Kerman with George Anderson, and we're returning now for the finals of the men's competition. And we have in front of us now our seventh place competitor, John DePasquale, who accrued a score of 43.5 for the first two rounds, and he now is entering the freeform round in seventh place. What's the background on John, George?
Well, John is a second-degree black belt from Chicago. He's with the Illinois Shotokan. He has several clubs there, and he's a student of Mr. Sugiyama, one of the senior Shotokan masters in the country. John is a very strong fighter. He's been a member of the United States team in fighting, and now he's trying to get on it in kata also.
Okay, John finished in sixth place in the first round, and then had a poor performance, finishing in eighth place in the second round, which puts him in his present position of seventh place. And he has quite a way to move up. He's going to qualify for the U.S. team. Again, in this men's competition, two people do qualify for the U.S. team.
Yes, that's correct. I don't think he can do it. At this point, it's most of the experience for him now. And he's going to try to move up. I suspect he'll do it again next year and try to move up another place in the ratings.
Okay, what about the level of competition in the men's as compared to the women's? Overall, are the men different? How do they fight differently?
Yeah, the men are much different than the women. The men, of course, have immense physical power, and they must demonstrate their power, and they move in much different sense. Women are more low in the hips, and the men are very high and strong in the shoulders, and the movements are more forceful and strong. Everything should go pop, crack, snap. And
what about tomorrow as far as DePasquale's chances in the fighter competition?
I would expect him to place in the top four in the fighting. He's a very vigorous fighter, and unless he hits somebody and gets disqualified, he becomes very, as I say, very vigorous. He's a very spirited fighter, and he's fun to watch. In his ring, there's always action.
Okay, let's go again now to the... Okay, they're ready to begin action here, it looks like. And they're announcing DePasquale, and Mark Ruman is on deck. He was the sixth place competitor, will follow DePasquale. And he now prepares to begin the finals of the men's competition.
This is a small Batsai form. He did Batsai Dai earlier, and this is a small form. It's a pure and clean action. It's so difficult, and it demonstrates all the possible errors. Any mistake you make is observable here. The name of this form means to break the fortress.
What about the importance of the concentration here?
Oh, yeah, this form, the concentration is totally important, and as are the balance and the ability to move from one action to the other. And this is typically the form that you might say that the bird leaves the bush and doesn't shake the bush when it takes off. And this one here, the movement and everything is so critical. Anything at all will sink you on this one.
Okay, John has completed his performance, and we'll wait now as we have the same panel of 9 judges to tabulate their calculations. There we go. 8.8, 8.8, 8.7, 8.6, 8.7, 8.8, 8.8, 8.7, and 8.7. And again, we're on the same bracket of 8 points to 9.5.
Yes, yes, I think on that score he won't move up. And I don't think you'll see anybody else doing that form either. I think that form is exclusive to him.
Why do you think he chose that type of form?
Because it's one he knows. He's not a really high-ranking black belt, and the forms that he knows within his system are limited, and they don't permit all kinds of fancy forms, so that's one he's been practicing. That's his training form.
Mm-hmm. And again, they're waiting on now the head table to calculate his final score before he leaves the ring. And again, it remains there with concentrating on the breathing and remains in proper stance.
Yes, he does. And they will all do that because they're it's like an officer in attention in the military. Very similar type of thing.
What about the athlete's code of honor, where each of the competitors had to sign beforehand? What type of influence does that have upon the tournament?
Well, in the AAU particularly, they watch how you behave. Behavior of a karateka should bring honor to the whole thing, and this is not so much that they sign it, but that they read it and they live it. And they don't want to take any unfair advantage of the competitors. Of course, you know, somebody's down, you don't want to hurt them, and you want to be courteous, even though you might be fighting very strongly with a person. And you, of course, got to obey the referee without question, so we can stop matches when they get out of hand.
He received a score of 61.2 for this competition, which gives him 104.7. Now when we have Mark Rumit came to the center of the floor there and will begin his competition, he has a 43.6 after the first 2 rounds. Mark appears to be a younger competitor.
Yes, he is, and many of the observers thought he did better than his score in the initial round. He did perhaps some of the finest forms of the day, and there must have been some real glaring error that the judges saw because they didn't score him higher. But he's doing remarkably well.
In fact, he did not even place in the top 8 places there. He finished 9th in the first round, and then was able to strong performance in the second round, brought him back. What has he chosen here for his free form?
Well, this is a very, very strong form, and it's allowed him to display his agility on the floor. If you watch his stances, the way he moves is outstanding. It's a very strong kata. This is Goju Shiho. Again, it's that drunken sailor form. You see, he's as though he's going to fall. He covers himself.
Mark's a brown belt?
Yes.
Where's he from?
I don't know. He's a newcomer to the tournament scene. I haven't seen him before. I think he's from New York. I would think he's a Shotokan from New York, by the patches on his uniform. I assume that's where he's from.
Good performance for him, and we'll see how the officials rate that. What about a brown belt? Did they take that into account at all when they look at the...
Yes, they do. That's because there's certain levels of form, and most of the brown belts don't do high form.
There's the official scores: 9.0, 9.0, 9.0, 8.9, 8.8, 8.9, 9.0, 9.0, and 8.9. And again, very consistent judging, all right around the same number there.
Well, it's excellent judging. I've never seen better judging. This is superb. The masters, or the high-ranking black belts, have what we call high form. It's a little more subtle nuance to the kata, and the brown belts generally have a hard time achieving that. So even when I do outstanding form with about 4 or 5 years now, he'll do that form in such a manner he'd probably easily place on anybody's national team. But once again, he has maybe 3 or 4 years to grow into his full capacity.
What about the judging here, where we see such consistent scoring? Is that a tribute to the training that these judges receive from the AAU?
Oh, yes. The AAU has regular clinics, and as a tribute to the quality of the men, besides the training, these are top sensei and top karate men, and they're trying to be totally fair. Considering they come from different parts of the country and from different systems and at different ranks, I think it's remarkable.
Okay, his total score for that round was 62.7, which gives him 106.3 for the tournament and moves him quite well, quite up. And of course, he's in the top spot now, but the next few people are going to feel the pressure of that strong performance by Mark Pritchard.
Oh, they certainly will.
And immediately now we have Ted Pritchard, who is in 5th place with a 44.2 total score after 2 rounds. He finished in 5th in both the first and second round, so he's been performing consistently. What has he chosen here for the free form?
Well, this is one of the really deep breathing forms, and as it comes out of the Goju system, this is a very strong kata. I might add that Mr. Pritchard is one of the better fighters, one of the really strong fighters in the AAU, and he always makes the top cuts. Within his weight division, I would expect him to be 1st or 2nd in his kilo division. So you can watch for him fighting. This is a Goju kata.
As far as physical size, he's one of the larger competitors we've seen.
Yeah, he's in the heavyweight division. I think he's about 82 or 83 kilos, about 185, 190 pounds. And he's demonstrating good power here.
We are seeing extremely more force here in the men's competition than we did in the women's, as you know, evident through the male as compared to the female.
Yes, of course you do.
So how would you evaluate his performance there?
I think the performance, that was not particularly startling performance. He'll get a good grade, but that isn't as good as he could have done.
There's the official scores. 9.0, 9.0, 9.1, 8.9, 9.0, 9.0, 8.9, 8.9, and 8.9. And again, very consistent judging.
9.0.
Yes, that's really close judging. Matter of fact, you don't see that often. I haven't seen it that way in 2 or 3 years. This is about the closest I've seen it.
8.9.
So that should be good enough to keep Ted Pritchard in 5th place and, of course, apply some pressure to our next competitor, Bernie Garcia. As we mentioned earlier, Garcia is the husband of one of our women's competitors who finished in the final 6 there.
I think Bernie will do Kanku's show.
Full score,
Again, one of the
62.7.
jumping forms.
62.7 was his score,
Bernie Garcia up.
which is good enough to move him, or to keep him ahead of Mark Rumont. And now Bernie Garcia, who was in 4th place previously, moves on to center of the floor. 44.6 was the score he accrued for the first 2 rounds. In contrast to the force and the intensity we've seen with Ted Pritchard, Garcia continues the intensity, but we don't have the physical force that...
No, he really doesn't. He's very quick, though. Very, very quick, man. I think he fights in these 60 to 65 kilo divisions, the real lightweights. He got disqualified in Spain. He hit somebody in the face and disqualified in his competition.
See what the scores are for Bernie Garcia. 8.8, 8.8, 8.9, 8.9, 9.0, 9.2, 9.0, 8.9, and 8.9. So he could indeed lose his position to Ted Pritchard.
Yeah, maybe he did. It looks as though he might have done that.
And it's an important spot, that number 4 spot, too, because that's one of the alternate, qualifies him for his alternate.
Yes. Sometimes they use the 3rd and 4th place to send on goodwill teams to South America, too. They'll usually send one team one place and send what we call the B team someplace else. If the competitions, international competitions overlap, they use all 4 places.
Full score, 62.4.
62.4. That is just enough to keep him ahead of Ted Pritchard. As Ted Pritchard had 106.9, he had one that gives him 107.0. So by 1/10 of a point, he is maintains his 4th place position. Now Alberto Pina, who is challenging for the 2nd place spot. Both the 2nd and 3rd place competitors had scores of 45.1 after the first 2 rounds. Alberto, because of the tiebreaker type of competition, is presently in 3rd place.
I would expect he'll stay in 3rd place. He's an experienced competitor. He's been on the team both for kata and for fighting for several years. Last year he was just in the 3rd and 4th place. He didn't actually compete, but he was one of the alternates. He's a very strong fighter.
What about Ronald Mizuta? His competition?
Ronald Mizuta I would expect to take 2nd, and I would expect Domingo Llanos, unless he makes a big error, to take 1st place. He's clearly the best foreign man we have.
So Pina now, who's presently tied with Mizuta for 2nd place, out on the center of the floor.
Well, he's doing a good form. His form looks good. He'll get good scores. His score should be right around 9.
What type of breathing pattern is he using on this?
Well, this is a Goju breathing pattern. It's almost like a hiccup. They bring the breath up and then they close the epiglottis off. And it's a forced breathing. It's peculiar to the Shoryu systems coming from Okinawa. And they also use a unnatural method of walking, but it's a very, very strong style, and it resembles a cat. It's a very strong pattern breathing. Mr. Pena and Domingo Llanos are gymnasium partners, and they train together. They both come from the same gymnasium in New York City.
How important is it to have a strong gymnasium partner like that?
Oh, it is. It's really important because you need somebody to criticize you. If you're by yourself, all you can do is look in the mirror, and that doesn't tell you anything because you're not controlling your gaze when you do.
And he's completed his performance. Which should set the stage for Ronald Missoula. Let's see what the officials score. 9.2, 9.3, 9.0, 9.0, 9.0, 9.0, 8.9, 9.0, and 9.0.
Very good score. Very good score.
9.0.
So that gives him a very excellent shot for second place and to qualify for the U.S. team as he
9.0. 9.0.
Mr. Zawa is a very, very strong form man, though, so we have to watch and see what he does. He may do outstanding Kata 2, which again will break a tie.
The two men have been tied throughout the entire day. In the first round, they both received scores of 21.2.
63.2.
63.2 is his score. So that gives him 108.3 overall, which moves him strongly into the top spot as of right now,
On deck.
with two men yet to perform. And here is Ronald Missoula. As I said previously, Missoula won the first round with a score of 21.2, which was the same as Pena, and then Pena came back to win the second round, and both again had identical scores.
This is Impey, once again, the flying swallow form.
What is the background on Ronald?
I don't know. He's a newcomer to the scene, and I think he's a Shotokan, or no, he's Shitoru, and I think he comes from Washington, state of Washington. It appears to from his patch. This form is not too often done at the national level. It has a high jump in the back, and if you don't do it just exactly right, it really ruins your scoring. The jump is supposed to go completely in the air and around, and we'll see how he does. They do 3 of these actions, and then they back off, and then there's a big jump.
How would you evaluate that jump?
I think it was moderate.
Okay, we'll have to see what the judges see as he completes his performance there.
I think he's in the 9 range. I don't know whether he did quite as well as Pena did.
Call for the official scores, and there we are, 9.1, 9.0, 9.1, 9.1, 9.1, 9.3, 9.1, 8.9, and 9.1, so quite well.
Yes, a good form, clean form.
9.1.
And it looks like he will maintain his second place position,
Well, you
despite
see,
the strong performance by Pena.
yeah, the 9.3, you know, you can only go 2 higher. That means that the one referee thought the form was almost perfect. Just very close to perfect.
Total score 63.6.
And that moves him, 63.6 was his total score. That moves him strongly into the top spot right now with 108.7, and so he for sure now qualifies for the U.S. team. He finishes 0.5 of a point ahead of Alberto Pena, and now we have Domenico Llanos, who is in first place after the first 2 rounds with a 46.0, and he is now at the center floor.
I'm sure that he'll do a strong form. I'm sure that he'll win this one.
Is he a member of the team now?
Yes, he is. He's the premier kata man on the United States team, and he didn't do well in Spain, but previously in Japan he did very well. And he's a Pan American champion and national champion many times. He's been the overall champion. He's an All-American probably 6-7 times, athlete of the year, just all kinds of awards. Again, he's represents New York, and he's a Goju stylist.
What about the age on someone like this? Has he seen the peak of his career?
I think not yet. He has maybe 4 or 5 years. See, these things mature, and the actions become more subtle and at a higher spiritual level. Now, I think he has maybe 3 or 4 years of really strong movement left. See, when you're watching him now, you're not just watching a physical thing, you're watching the man. See the character he's displaying in his movements. This is identically the same form that his gymnasium brother, Mr. Pena, did.
How would you evaluate his performance up to this point?
I'd say for this form, he's doing about as well as you could do with it. There are some few minor things I see. One thing that he's making is a pseudo action or chopping action with his open hand. There's a little movement that's unnecessary, but I think the form is outstanding. I would think at this he'll be scoring in the range of 9-1, 9-2 all the way across.
Built up quite a lead for the first 2 rounds, and so a very strong candidate to finish first place here. Win the men's kata championship.
Oh, I think he'll clearly do that. Excellent form. See how, when he was jumping, how clear and concise his movements were?
The crowd responded. They recognized the excellent style there.
Okay, very good scores.
Here are the judges' scores: 9.4, 9.4, 9.0, 9.1, 9.3, 9.3, 9.3, 9.2, and 9.3. Just excellent scores.
Yes, best we've had all day.
9.3.
And of course, the 2 referees on the end awarding 9.4s, even a higher award there of almost perfect.
Almost perfect. That form was a really good display of technique and mind. So that's what form should be. That's a goal for all the other competitors to try to reach. No, he isn't going to be unseated as the champion of the United States for some time.
So Domingo Llanos maintains his #1 spot, becomes the champion, men's champion in kata competition here. His total score, 64.9. To give him 110.9, the highest score of the day for all 3 rounds. And so now we'll take a break here. We'll pause, and we'll be back with the awarding of the championships for both the men and the women right after this timeout. Here we are now. They're announcing off the finals of the women's competition. Tilly Garcia received 4th place. Her combined score was 107.8. Chairman of the National AAU Committee, Jerry Thompson, awarding the medal to Leah Sakenik. Her score of 108.0. Both of those women are now alternates on the U.S. team. 2nd place, Pam Glazier. Her score 108.2. Again, receiving her award from Chairman Jerry Thompson. Next to him is Pat Hickey, the tournament director, and there is our 1st place and women's champion, kata champion, and that is Kathy Baxter, and her score 109.0. And there's your champion and top 4 finishers. And of course, they continue their style and they bow there. They receive congratulations from the crowd. And that's our women's finalists. Winning the men's kata championship and returning as a member of the U.S. team in 1st place is Domingo Llanos. His score 110.9. In second place, Ronald Mazea, also now a member of the U.S. team. He finished well. He's from California. His score 108.7. Third place, Alberto Pina. He had a score of 108.3. Excellent competition. He'll be an alternate on the U.S. team. In fourth place, joining his wife as alternate, is Bernie Garcia. He finished with a score of 107.0. In fifth place, Ted Pritchard, with a strong competition, finished in fifth only by 1/10 of a point. He had a score of 106.9. Sixth place, Mark Rumont, his score 106.3. And finishing in seventh place is John DePasquale. DePasquale finished with a score of 104.7. We'll see more of him in the sparring fighter competition. This concludes the men's kata competition and our awarding of all the kata awards, and we'll return with the look at free-form fighting right after this timeout.
Hello, I'm Jerry LeCamp, Director of Radio and Television for the Catholic Diocese, inviting you to watch our monthly series, Profile. Profile is a program which features one church and its congregation here in the CATV franchise area. Remember, Profile, Channel 24, Wednesdays at noon, Sundays at 2:30.
Okay, here we are in the finals of the lightweight division, the under 53 kilogram division, and we have Pat Booth, who has not lost yet in today's competition, and she is facing Gwen Hoffman. The only time Hoffman has lost today was in the quarterfinals to this same competitor, Pat Booth, and so these two will be going at it for the championship of the under 53 kilogram competition.
This Hoffman has been doing a lot of kicking, and she's been doing a lot of side kicking. She seems to retreat, and when the other opponent comes in, she tries to kick. And Pat's been able to beat that by timing. She brings her leg back, and she moves in and punches.
She just won an exciting match over Joan Fellensack to qualify to make it into this finals competition.
Oh, she did, and she did all kinds of kicks in that. The last minute of the match, she must have done 30, 40 full-power kicks.
Booth, on the other hand, is an older fighter. She's 28 years old. She's from New Jersey.
Riaz, report to red. Matthews, report to white.
Zari awarded to Pat Booth in the red.
It was awarded on a counterpunch. Pat Booth has been counterpunching regularly. She just doesn't attack too much. She stands outside and at the last minute sticks him. There's another example of a perfect fallback and excellent timing.
She's able to just put that counterpunch in there.
The referee didn't think something was correct about it, so it wasn't a punch. It wasn't executed in the proper balance, evidently. The referee is making a warning against face contact at Pat Booth. There was a bumping there. Once again, that leading kick, hoping that they'll raid their guard or something where she can move underneath and punch. There was a kick to the back once again the kick to the back was to make them turn so they can get them to their attacking side.
Blazers putting with all their weight on that back foot there.
Yeah, it's odd to see them leading with a kick like that. She's leading with a kick hoping that the defense will change, and it doesn't work for her. I don't know why she keeps doing it. It's not effective. Every time she does it and she drops her foot, Miss Booth punches her. Again's that leading kick. Extremely fast fighters can do that occasionally, and with a great deal of surprise. It's very effective, but you can't do it over and over again. A technique of just throwing your leg out is because sometimes you're nervous and don't know what to do, and you're hoping to make them turn.
Booth is able just to sit back and wait to try to get a counterpunch in.
Yeah, I think she's off-siding the other girl, too. She's standing against the, not the favored fighting side. She's not changing position suitably.
That's the end of the match, and Pat Booth looks like she came up with a win. She scored 2. Azari is there to win 2-0 over Gwen Hoffman, and she is the champion in the lightweight division of the women's competition, the under 53 kilograms. We have Louis Reyes in the white, and he's against John Buey with the red strap on, and Buey has one loss on the day. He lost earlier to Reyes.
Mr. Buey is a dentist from Chicago. Mr. Reyes is from New England. These are both very active fighters. And in the last match, Mr. Reyes really moves strongly. He's a fierce attacker, and when he's behind, he just simply chases him across the ring and tries to beat him up. Strong holding in action.
Actually, these two gentlemen never faced before today. Mui lost in one of the early rounds and battled its way back through the losers bracket. Reyes, on the other hand, has not lost on the day and came all the way through and won in the semifinals round over William Matthews. And Mui defeated Matthews to earn this opportunity to compete here.
Mr. Reyes is physically strong. He just really moves him over and grabs a hold of him and hits him.
We see these men with their hand gear. There's more padding, it appears, on their gear than we saw with the women.
You're right.
Mui's on the ground there, but no points awarded.
No, he went down. He actually lost his balance and slipped. He wasn't really knocked down. Here's a roundhouse kicking, caught on the hands. And Mr. Reyes just charges and in some sense bodily crashes and tries to move them towards the ring corner. Then he attacks strongly, hoping to drive them out. And then they start watching the corner of the ring and don't pay attention to him. Then he scores him.
Another attempted roundhouse.
Oh, terrific uppercut to the solar plexus. He grabbed him, hit him twice, and then smacked him in the solar plexus.
Looks like Mui's recovered.
Oh, he'll recover. But he evidently was breathing out when he got hit. He was trying to pull away, and I think he was recovering his breath.
He was trying to open to that roundhouse kick.
This time Mr. Reyes is down. Sometimes that charging very hard is unsafe. We don't know exactly what happened here, but I think he got hit in the head. He might
Call
have
for a
been
medic at this point. He's trying to get up at this point, but it doesn't look like Reyes is going to get back up.
Looked to me as though he might have been hit with an elbow. They have 10 seconds to recover. It hit him right over the right over the right eye. You can see the swelling starting to come. That's a
Tournament doctor is there on the scene now.
Later on, which one gets first place? I may make it from here. Let me see the chart.
That's a bad place to get hit. That is not so bad with boxing gloves, but when you go to bare hands, and of course these knuckle pads are merely to prevent cuts. They're real soft and they don't have any cushioning effect at all. And if you get hit with an elbow or something, they'll knock you right out. Go right out like a light.
This is giving Mui a chance to recuperate as well. He's over there on the ground on the other side.
What's your word going to be? Move on.
Again, this is the finals of the 60-kilogram classification in the men's competition.
He's right. He's right. Okay, what they're going to do here, I think, is to give him a Mobobi. They're going to suggest Mr. Reyes charged in with reckless disregard for his own safety and ran into Mr. Mui. Therefore, Mr. Mui is not to be held accountable for that strike. So they'll give a warning to the to Reyes, or give him a Mobobi, which would give, in effect, give Mr. Mui a Wazari. That's the case. There's a penalty for running in a defenseless attitude, or running in and leading with your face. And it's something to be aggressive. It's another thing to have reckless disregard for your own safety.
Seems to be a cut above the eye now of Reyes. He has a cut above his right eye.
Yeah, it's quite a swelling there. But he appears to be durable, and he's recovered and up on his feet and moving well. Dr. Mui is very, very quick and very strong. He just doesn't know what to do with this extremely aggressive fighter from New England.
Tournament doctor continues to tend to Louis Reyes.
And we'll see whether this bump over the eye has changed his offensive maneuvers, and maybe he won't be so aggressive and move in. If that's the case, then you'll see a complete change around in this match. John Mui normally is the one that's on the aggressive and normally attacks, but he hasn't been able to get one underway so far. Every time he starts moving, his Reyes attacks him and drives him off balance.
It's not in there.
Again, this is qualification for the U.S. trial team.
Well, this is a qualification for the international team. For example, we would have Russia versus the United States here, or Taiwan would come over or something like that, or we would send a trip to France or Australia. These people will travel under the American flag.
And these are the two gentlemen that qualified in the 60-kilogram classification through today's competition. Reyes was able to drive him out of the ring that time.
Reyes hasn't slowed down at all. He's still moving very strongly.
No points awarded, though. Seen a lot of physical activity out there.
Yeah, you really have. The referee isn't accepting that. He says it has to be not a lot, but it has to be proper. It has to be direct and directly under control of your mind. These wild actions don't count.
Who is our referee for this?
Our referee is Koji Sugimoto from 7th Degree Shotokan from Miami, Florida.
30 seconds.
30 seconds remaining.
With a terrific punch to the kidney area. I don't think they'll rule it. They'll allow it. One thing, Mr. Reyes is not really solid in his body position at the time of his hitting. He's up on his toes or something like that, and his balance isn't secure. And there was a good punch to the back, and I think they're going to award the technique to Mr. Mui, Dr. Mui, the technique he did right before he turned his back and got punched.
Seems to be a discussion on the sideline as two officials in the ring disagree on who to award the point to on that.
Yeah, well, one guy did a technique and got a point for it, and then Mr. Reyes then did one immediately thereafter and hit him. So it was a question of which one technique was more valid. You see, that punch that was thrown directly in front of us, hitting him in the side, was thrown with sort of like a hooking action, and it didn't have the power. It wasn't a direct power technique. It was just a hit, much like a slap. They're terrific uppercuts he's throwing.
Give a warning that time to Mr. Reyes.
There's another hit to the head.
This match is totally turned around as Mr. Mui is able to control it.
Yes, he has. Well, see, that reckless attacking will get you into all kinds of trouble. You just can't do that. You fight against a good man, you come in, he'll just hit you. It's much in the same way a matador would poke a bull, you know. Now, you take a man like Mr. Reyes and proper coaching and more training, then he'll be very, very tough, but he'll have intervals of fighting. He won't do that all the time. He'll do it once and then he won't do it. And he'll keep his opponent off balance with a differentiation in the attack, where right now he's doing the same thing over and over, which allows Mr. Mui to gauge him and turn it around.
Officials continue the discussion on the sidelines of what to do with that last call, that last confrontation.
Well, it's clear that somebody got hit, but they're trying to determine who is responsible, the fellow that charged him with his face or the fellow that hit him. And as they're trying to assign the responsibility, so there is a difference of opinion. And in order to award a penalty, they have to have a consensus where they all agree on what's to be awarded.
Again, our commentary this afternoon is from George Anderson. He's one of the high-ranking officials in the AAU. That's the end of the time. There's only seconds left on the clock. And Mr. Mui comes up with the victory, and he's our champion in the men's 60-kilogram classification, defeating Luis Reyes. And so, however, that since Mui came from the losers brackets, that's going to set up a rematch.
Yes, it certainly will. And this rematch will be interesting because we'll see whether Reyes' coach will tell him to slow it down and change his tactics, because those tactics obviously don't work. They worked once, and Mui, with his brains, picked it apart and came in with a different method and beat him now. We're going to see whether Reyes can do it again. That's 2 out of 3, really.
Okay, we're set back with the rematch of the two men that qualified for the U.S. team in karate in the 60-kilogram classification. There's John Mui. He qualified and has just defeated his opponent, Luis Reyes. The two men will be going at it now again, each man with one loss. There's Luis Reyes. He won all the way through, qualified through, winning the semifinals, got into the finals, and lost to Mui. And that calls for a rematch between the two gentlemen, each with one loss in this double elimination tournament. And this will decide who the 60-kilogram champion is for today. Again, Mui with the red belt on, and in the white is Luis Reyes.
Mr. Reyes used to box when he was in the Army, and a good part of that is showing up in his karate technique with those long, low swing punches. Dr. Muey is last year was the first time he entered the national team trials, and he was disqualified for excessive contact. And this year he has it much better under control.
He's coming with that high kick, keeping Reyes away.
Yeah, he is. He's stabbing the distance. One of the big problems here is there's being within a distancing zone, being able to get right in there. And when they enter into that zone, you have to attack immediately. And sometimes they're not ready, so they throw the foot up to stall the event.
Okay, Muey was able to score there originally. Now they're going to give it a warning of technique there to Reyes.
I think Reyes is going to continue his driving method, and is one out of bounds now for Mr. Muey.
You saw Reyes that caused him to get that cut over his right eye in the first match between these two gentlemen.
I suspect that the referees are thinking that Mr. Reyes is just bordering on excessive body contact. He's doing some very heavy body punches, and they're not really scoring techniques, but they certainly hurt, I'm sure. Mr. Muey has to be weakening from those the heavy body punching.
He continues with a smile on his face the whole time, too.
Yeah, part of that's because of his mouth guard. These fellows are good competitors, and they're friends, and they're good athletes, but they really want to win.
You sure can see the remnants from that boxing
Yeah, you
style
can.
of Louis Reyes.
Well, the primary difference between the boxing and the techniques that they like here are the placement of the elbow. In the boxing, they'll throw the elbow out, and of course they have a taped wrist, you know, and they in karate they can turn the wrist because it's not taped, and the elbow should be held close to the body.
Waiting for the official ruling here on this. Giving the warning to Reyes. Warning up.
Yeah, he gave warning to Reyes and gave the Wazari the penalty for the warning to Dr. Muey. And I think ruling it was no point.
Reyes got in there with a good kick, but I think again his technique was off.
I think the kick landed on the arm. It wasn't clearly through. Oh, now they're starting to get a little frustrated. Not angry, but frustrated. They don't know what to do about that. And, of course, if it exceeds any more, they'll disqualify him on the spot. They won't permit any anger like that to be shown in the ring. And they're liable to Wazari him right now. The referees bring the fighters together and cautioning them that this is not a good way to fight and that they can lose through bad attitude. Punched, followed immediately by a point. The referee rules no point because it wasn't just quite quick enough. We gave him another warning for hitting the head, and it was done before, and the second time for hitting the head. And it's uncontrolled hitting, and there are techniques that could not be a point because of the placement of the arm, because of the manner in which they're struck, and what they are designed to do is just beat him up, and that's not permitted under the rules. It's excessive brutality.
30 seconds.
.30 seconds remaining in the match.
It's amazing as hard as these guys are hitting that nobody's bothered to sweep the feet. So usually when there's such close, heavy infighting, they sweep the feet. They're doing a very good job of refereeing. He's ruling these out of order, and he's correct in doing so. They're not delivered with any discernible karate technique. They're just really heavy, hard swings to the body. There was a clean back fist. He moved in cleanly and hit him on the head with a back fist, and I think he'll get a Wazari for that.
Again, the officials are going to come over to the sideline and discuss exactly what to do, but we are seeing the style of Louis Reyes very much like a boxing.
Very much like a boxing, and you see Dr. Muey is a technician and very quick picking it apart. And Mr. Reyes can't figure out what to do. He thinks he's clearly overwhelming and clearly winning, and every time he moves in, the other guy's sticking to him. It's like running blindfolded through a forest. Every now and then he runs into a tree. It's that kind of an analogy. I think that Mr. Reyes will probably be a terrific fighter with the proper coaching, so he knows when to apply that force, not just randomly applied. And then when he does it, he does it with a specific technique, not just... Now, they gave the same thing there for excessive bond contact. Mr. Mui hit him in the head, and they gave him Mr. Reyes a Vazari for being hit. No thanks.
We are seeing a lot of contact here. And wait for the officials' discussion. They're going to go talk to Louis Reyes, look at where he got hit in the face.
The swelling hasn't increased over the eye. It seems to be quit bleeding, and he hasn't been hit there again. The mirror saw what he seemed to be a point for Reyes, and the referee stopped it to determine exactly what it was, and he ruled no point. Oh, there's a terrific body punch. Dropped him to the floor. Hit him right in the floating ribs. Right under the arm.
Right at the end of the time, too, and now Mui is on the ground, and they called again for the medic.
Got him breathing in. You can't hit that many times, and of course it's we'll see what happens here. I suggest it'll be disqualification. That'd be my particular viewpoint.
Officials are attending to John Mui at this point.
Of course, Dr. Mui is in supreme physical condition with very strong stomach muscles, and it just got him on the floating ribs and caught him when he was breathing incorrectly. Once again, that demonstrates the importance of shouting, and the technique is to protect yourself. When you're shouting loudly and you walk in to a punch, then you don't get hurt. And if you're not shouting and you're breathing in, or you're in that transition period, you can be injured. You notice at the time of the injury, the fellow that caused it goes over and kneels down at the line and doesn't pay attention to what's happened, and in effect removes himself from any consequence until the referee brings him back and stands him up. He isn't allowed to apologize. He's not allowed to look at the damage. He has to go over there and mind his own business until the thing is resolved.
The match is over as the time limit expired, right? As those final punches were delivered.
Well, this is certainly a very vigorous match, and it's Dr. Mui is the winner.
And they give the victory to John Mui, as he is the winner, coming back from the loser's bracket and then winning twice over Louis Reyes to become the men's 60-kilogram champion. And so that wraps up this class. Okay, here we're taking a look at the under 53 division now for women, and they're giving the awards for the top people. The first person finishing in fourth place is going to be Pam Glazier.
Okay, we have Pat Booth from New Jersey.
Pam Glazier, fourth place.
Fourth place.
Finishing in third place was Joan Fellensack. Fellensack also was a finisher, a finalist yesterday in the kata competition.
Third place is Joanne Fellensack from New Jersey. Second place
was Gwen Hoffman.
Gwen Hoffman from New Jersey.
She, of course, qualifies for the U.S. team with that second place finish. And the women's champion in the under 53 division is Pat Booth.
Pat Booth, New
and
Jersey.
She, of course,
first
will
place.
be a member of the U.S. team as well. And that's our women's finalists for the under 53 division. Now let's take a look at the next division. Look at the next division. Okay, here's the results of the men's lightweight division. The 60 kilograms is the limit in this classification. Rudolph Miranda from the Lake Erie area finishes in fourth place. Finishing in third place, William Matthews.
Illinois.
He's from Chicago.
Central Division. Second place, Louis Reyes.
He, of course, has a bad foot and is being helped out there. And finishing in second place is Louis Reyes. We saw his competition. He made it all the way to the finals and then was defeated twice by the 60-kilogram champion, and that is John Mui, also from Chicago. Mui also sustained an injury in his last match, and he is the champion. He and Louis Reyes qualify for the U.S. team. And so that's a look at our winners in the 60-kilogram classification. Here we are in a semifinal match in the men's 80-kilogram classification, a very tough classification in this particular tournament. And we have fighting here Toki Hill wearing the red belt and Marvin Farmer with the white.
Toki is the world champion and Pan American champion, and he's the only gold medal winner ever to come out of the United States competition. Win for the United States in any international competition relating to the martial arts.
Hill lost in the quarterfinals to Ken Ferguson in a surprise match, and now has to battle his way up the loser's bracket. Marvin Farmer lost in one of the early rounds and battled back through the loser's bracket, and the loser here will finish in 4th place while the winner was continuing his competition.
Toki Hill is extremely fast, terrific reflexes, and he's noted for his ability to really jump in and get the point quickly. He's a money fighter. Really knows how to even it up. Now you notice he's taking a very deep stance and getting ready to spring in. He keeps his hands in constant motion to befuddle the opponent. Mr. Farmer is a student of Yamazaki, one of the senior American referees, and we haven't seen him before in national class competition.
You can tell almost by the look on Hill's face that he just keeps, has his eye in there trying to look for one mistake from Farmer to
He does.
jump
He's
in
a
there.
Really smart fighter. Really smart fighter.
And there it was.
Beautiful back fist. It's a contact point, but it's beautiful back fist.
And that Farmer now is on the ground in there, tending to him on the side there.
See, Mr. Hill just picked that right up and whacked him. Just a simple warning was given for that infraction. There's a extended left foot. You can't do that very often. Toki move under it and hit him. Toki's a 4th degree black belt from Chillicothe, Ohio.
30 seconds.
A 30-second warning. He got him with a real fast punch, but his body balance wasn't correct when he scored it. Referee rules no point.
Still no score in this match up to this point.
No, this newcomer is to be watched. Mr. Farmer is very quick.
Again, he was chased out of the ring, though, by Hill. And the Mazar is awarded to Hill, and he takes the lead in the match.
No, he's a very smart fighter. It's going to be hard to score him to get a point. He's not going to do anything foolish in this match. He is going to play it out to the end. I think there's about 15 seconds match time remaining, and he's just going to stall it out.
There it is, the end of the match. Toki Hill will advance, and Marvin Farmer finishes now in 4th place in this 80-kilogram classification. Okay, here we are in the semifinals match, and one of the top matches of today. Toki Hill, current world champion, in the white, facing off against John DePasquale in the red. This is for 3rd place. The loser here will be in 3rd place. The winner will qualify for the U.S. team. Both of these gentlemen have one loss. Whoever loses this match will be out of the tournament. And the winner, of course, as I said, will qualify for the U.S. team.
Yeah, the last time they fought, an exhibition match, Mr. DePasquale, I hit him with a back fist and injured him. Toki's going to be very careful of that fast driving attack. You notice he keeps a very cool concentration and beautiful technique, terrific speed.
Okay, the order was there to Toki Hill.
The head referee is Mr. McCamey from New Orleans, one of the most respected of the karate masters in the United States. He was All-Japan karate champion in his day. Toki's getting set, I think, for back fist technique. And he's going to try and move Mr. DePasquale forward and then hit him from behind.
They're certainly two of the finest competitors here today. You can tell by the way the crowd is watching this match.
Well, these guys are really careful, and this is as good a match as you'll find anywhere. It's a skilled match. Very clean punch, the solar plexus. A fully pawn point. A fully pawn. That's a 2-point technique.
So they give him 2 points. He now leads the match 3-0 over DePasquale.
That's right. Of course, Toki is one of the finest fighters in the world, and he's a world-class competitor. Very experienced. He knows how he backpedals and his footwork moving out of there.
DePasquale's also very good, though.
Yeah, he's very good, but doesn't have the experience.
30 seconds.
Mr. Hill will mix it up when he wants to mix it up. You can't bring it to him if he doesn't want to go. He knows how to distance it. He knows how to distance it. See, one thing about a fighter in a match, they have to determine the time when they're going to go in. They can't let the other guy draw them into their pattern, and you can't draw Toki Hill into your pattern. He does his own thing regardless. See, just like that, he wouldn't be drawn into a collision unless he wanted it. The high roundhouse kick was worthless. There he goes. He said simultaneous clash is ruled.
Okay, they awarded Wazzari to Hill, and he's now in the leads 4-0 at this point.
Yeah, the mirror and the arbitrator thought it was a point. Oh, beautiful technique. Beautiful diving back kick. Beautiful technique. He hit him in the chest with a kick. Beautiful. Spinning back kick. You see that? Jeez, that was gorgeous. Off the floor.
5 seconds.
They give Wazzari, they give him a Wazzari, which gives him 5 points.
Beautiful.
That ends the round.
Kick to the face.
Toki Hill qualifies for the U.S. team by defeating John DePasquale 5-0.
The kick was beautiful.
They're not going to award a point to Hill at the end, but it's regardless as he does win, and now gets a rematch with Ken Ferguson, who knocked him out in the quarterfinal match. And so we'll move on to the finals as Ken Ferguson, with no losses, will face Toki Hill, who has won. And both of those gentlemen are members now of the U.S. team. Here we are in the finals of the men's competition for the 80-kilogram classification. Toki Hill is going at it against Ken Ferguson. Hill is in the white, Ferguson in the red. Ferguson undefeated on the day. Hill's only loss came in the quarterfinals to this same man.
Well, Toki's warmed up now, and he's moving very, very well.
We should again remind our audience that Ferguson's from the Cleveland area.
Yes.
Qualified at that Lake Erie district.
Yeah, he's from our group. He thought very highly of him. He's a tremendous fighter. He hasn't had very good luck, though, in international matches. And internationally, he's gotten beat, except for the team competition in the Pan American Union matches in Curacao. Kenny's big and he's strong, and he hits it very hard. Hill's one up on a body punch. Well, what Kenny Ferguson's going to try to do here is to destroy Toki Hill's punching range, destroy his mobility, try to cut the mobility down. But Hill isn't going to do it. Hill's moving in.
Okay, at one point was already awarded to Hill. Of course, Hill comes up with the win here that would set up another rematch.
Beautiful round kick. They're going to rule no point. It landed on the hands. The kick would have been successful if it hadn't hit one of Kenny Ferguson's hands. It landed right on the hand, so they didn't call it. Now, when they try to close in on Toki Hill, what he'll do is to snap that big back fist out.
Again, they awarded was already to Hill.
And Hill's now showing you why he's world champion.
Right. Battling back from the loser's bracket like this against Ferguson. Hill went out of bounds that time, so gonna give him a warning. Ferguson counters with the Wazzari.
Spirited fighting after the Yame. Boy, this is a close match. These guys are really matching it up.
Back punch by Ferguson.
Wazzari, that should be an even match now.
30 seconds.
30 seconds remaining.
Okay, Toki handles this by driving in with
attack.
a deep. He drove in with a deep punch. Okay, that was a back fist. Beautiful back fist. The mirror calls it. The arbitrator calls it. The judge
Award a point to
must award
Hill.
it. These guys are, the blood is up, the adrenaline's flowing, they don't want to stop. And he's calling it a clash. And I think they're going to consider giving them both an official warning for fighting after the voice signal. You know, the referee can't stop and jump in and separate them physically. They can't separate them physically, so they have to respond to a voice signal. This is one way we avoid injuries in the competition. Ferguson's raising his arm to offer an apparent opening. He hopes that
Okay, the fighting
Toki tried to side kick, and they ruled it none.
Hill is ahead at this point, 5-3. The order was already Ferguson. Makes it 5-4.
Well, the referee says a roundhouse kick, the arbitrator says punch, and the people doesn't see. The other mirror doesn't see the technique.
That's the time. So that should give Toki Hill the victory, 5-4.
That's right. The match goes to Toki Hill.
And so that's going to set up a rematch between these two gentlemen. Both of them qualifying for the U.S. team. One of them will finish tonight in today's tournament in first place. One of them will finish in second. Hill winning the second match, and that's going to set up a rematch. And here it is, the finals of the men's 80-kilogram classification. And we have two people qualified for the U.S. team and two of the finest in the world in this weight classification. Toki Hill in the white, wearing the red belt, is Ken Ferguson. A rematch of earlier. Each has defeated the other guy once.
Well, it's really difficult to score Kenny Ferguson because when you get within range of him, he punches. And no matter what you're doing, you're always trading punches. Ferguson is very agile. Moves like a butterfly. Oh, beautiful round kick. You see that roundhouse come forward and hit him right in the chest. Beautiful kick.
Hill's going to score on that point for sure.
Beautiful
Hill gets the
roundhouse.
Wazari, takes the early lead in this. Ferguson advanced all the way through the top bracket, defeating Hill in the quarterfinals, moving him in the loser's bracket. Hill battled back and now set up this rematch.
Kenny Ferguson measuring him. There's a kick that was too low. It was almost all right. Really long kick. In that particular thing, there was a back fist from Kenny Ferguson went in. I don't know if the referee sees it or not, but Kenny Ferguson hit him with the back fist. Toki Hill tried to punch him, missed, and the back fist went right over the top and hit him on the head. There was contact on the back fist.
Officials are dead. One official was sealed from the side, couldn't see it.
It was no good. It was a contact fist, so he's given a warning and continuing with the match. See, that's the type of technique, if it had been done with deliberation, could have been a positive score. It was almost an afterthought. That's the reason they didn't score it. Kenny Ferguson trying to trap that fast front foot of Toki.
Just watching the feet of both of these gentlemen just keep moving. The order was already to Hill. He takes a 2-0 lead. Comes right back with a quick shot.
Another Vazari.
Again, they order another Wazari. That gives him 3-0. Toki Hill, the world champion.
You know, he wasn't nonplussed by his initial loss to Kenny Ferguson. Oh, beautiful kick. Spinning kick up over the top. Beautifully controlled kick to the chest.
The one official thinks it hit the shoulder, and of course, then they disallow the point.
Well, the reason for disallowing the point was it was from the floor, and it was not done exactly at the nick of time. Any technique done after a referee says stop is not considered a valid point. The arbitrator couldn't see it from his position, and Mr. McCamey is asking his opinion.
Okay, the order was Wazari to Ferguson, and they cuts the lead now to 3-1. Hill comes right back with some more aggressiveness. 30 seconds remaining. The hip movement on Ferguson's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's trying to get set for a front kick off the other foot. He's taking. I don't understand why he does that, because Toki Hill knows he's not going to do that kind of technique. And so Toki took advantage of that and scored him.
Hill's not backing off either. He comes right back in there again, even though he has a 4-1 lead at this point.
Well, they have Hill's dander up. And Hill is his adrenaline's flowing, and he's a fighter.
He's treating the crowd to quite an exhibition here.
But you notice in all this fighting that these guys are very careful not to knock each other's teeth out or break their noses. There's no real serious injury here. It's vigorous, but it's well controlled. The coach is making a protest. There's not really allowable from the floor.
Okay, no
It's
point allowed
overruled.
there. Hill remains on ahead 4-1.
A took
kick
foot
attempted
sweep,
there.
didn't work. Oh, beautiful sweep. Beautiful sweep, and swept him beautifully and came down on him with a
Right
hook
at the end of the
kick.
match.
Beautiful technique.
We'll see what the
Hit
scoring
too
is
low.
on this.
It was too low. The kick was too low. The kick was too low, but it was a gorgeous sweep. The referee's going to award no point.
Time has expired. And Toki Hill should win 4-1, and he becomes the champion in the men's 80-kilogram classification. Ken Ferguson finishes in second place, and both of them members of the U.S. team. And that wraps up this class with this weight class. And so we'll be back with more right after this. Okay, here we are in the award ceremony for the men's 80-kilogram classification. We had some of the top fighters in the nation here for this, or actually in the world here for this competition, and we're now going to have the award ceremony. They're going to hand out the medals to the top 4 finishers. Finishing in fourth place is Marvin Farmer. He lost, of course, to Toki Hill in the losers bracket to finish in 4th spot. He's receiving his award from the national chairman, Jerry Thompson. Also there is the tournament director,
Third place, Central Division, John DePasquale.
John DePasquale. Finished in 3rd place. He's from Chicago. DePasquale narrowly had 2 close matches, lost a very close match to Ken Ferguson, and then to Toki Hill to finish in 3rd place.
Kenneth Ferguson.
Ken Ferguson, who went all the way through the top bracket and then lost in the finals to Toki Hill, and then set up the rematch and again lost to Toki Hill in 2 closely contested matches, and of course finished in 2nd place, qualified for the U.S. team. And finishing in 1st place in the 80-kilogram classification, the fans' favorite here, Toki Hill. Toki Hill, the world champion, winner of the Pan American Games, and Hill is the champion in the men's 80-kilogram classification. And so there you have the 4 finishers. Okay, we're tracking here with the winner of the 80-kilogram class. Congratulations, Toki, and you had to battle back from the losers bracket. Big victory for you.
Yes, sir. I lost in an earlier elimination, and I had to fight my way back up. It's a long way to go. I hate coming up the loser bracket. It's a tough way to go.
How does that change your point of view when you go in the ring when you have to come from the losers bracket?
Well, I tell you, it's been a while, but it's tough. I really forgot what it's like. I kind of fought a guy earlier. Kenny beat me earlier, the guy that I fought for first, and over in the other ring, and it was a tough fight, but I just didn't go out all the way like I should in these last 2 fights here. I knew it was all on the line, and once again, I'd like to represent the United States at the World Championships.
What about Kenny Ferguson? How did you adjust in that last match to be able to beat him twice in a row there?
Well, he's got a tremendous reach over me, and he's a great fighter. I just decided there at the end, I was kind of baffling him a little bit and try to use some lateral movement when he moved at me. And then I was going to set up and then start working on the punch, working to his lower ribs. Once I stuck him a couple times in the lower ribs, I tried to go high and get my punch in high. We just working combination. Of course, he's a tough fighter. We fought many a time, and luckily I got him this time.
Mr. Hill, I noticed that you're starting to use acrobatic techniques. What was in your mind when you performed those jumping and spinning kicks?
Well, there's a big conflict between open and AAU style, and you know, I respect both fighters, AAU and open fighters. I just think that we, as Americans, are very much more versatile than other countries, and working with the coaches and the staff with the AAU program, you know, I've consulted with them, and they told me to go ahead and try it and see how it feels. And at the World Championships, I did a couple spinning takedowns, and they accepted them. So we're trying to open them up to the rest of the AAU fighters.
Okay, talking a bit about Americans, what about the sport of karate? Who would you recommend that to? What type of person?
Any type of person. It's a beautiful educational thing, as far as if you can combine the mental and the physical together. Tell them, you know, it's a great. Any kind of athlete, young kids respect, and when they respect you, you put yourself in a leadership position. So. Myself, when I put on demonstrations and seminars, I try to encourage kids to like go to school, get a good education, plus be physical, you know, endurance, stamina, and then combine the two. And I think that we'll turn out a lot better athletes as far as the United States goes. I think we have one of the top programs in the world, you know, and hopefully in the future this September we'll get approved again at the World Championships.
Okay, could I make a comment, Mr. Chairman? What do you feel about these acrobatic techniques, and how do you feel they're going to influence our fighting systems?
Well, I think they're going to have a definite advantage if we can introduce them into an international theater. They offer a lot more versatility and technique, and I think that Toki did an outstanding job in Spain, and I'm sure that when you go with us to Taiwan, we'll be able to get our point across by using these techniques and showing them where it's at.
Okay, one more question for you, Mr. Thompson. What about this 80-kilogram class? We saw people like DePasquale, Ferguson, and, of course, Toki. Had to represent some of the best talent we saw in the tournament.
I think so. It seems to be a very popular weight. It's a weight where people are able to get into very easily. They can maintain it, and it's a very fast weight. They can still move very quickly but pack a lot of power in their punches and techniques and really put out effectively. I think it's one of the most popular weights that we have nationally and internationally.
Okay, congratulations to you on a well-run tournament, and congratulations to you on your championship.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, we'll be back with more after this. George Anderson, as we look back towards an exciting day of karate, we see again why the U.S. team has done so well in its international competition. We saw some excellent karate today.
Yes, you certainly did, and you saw Toki Hill, the world champion, perform and come from behind and do his thing, and now you can see why he is a leader among our competitors.
Okay, and that wraps up our karate coverage. We saw both the kata and the freeform fighting. We'd like to thank Pat Hickey and all the rest of the members of the National AAU Committee for their help. We'd like to thank you, George Anderson, for being with us and providing your expertise and commentary.
Thank you, Mike.
It's been a pleasure working with you. For Mike Herman and George Anderson, that concludes our karate coverage.